welcome to the laboratory. And so far, nothing is alive. It's a little short video to get you updated on what's going on. This is the kit we're talking about. This is Eduard's Spitfire Mk. For anybody that was, missed a couple of meetings, put that over there. Okay, assembling this kit has turned out to be a really interesting exercise. I'm very glad that I glued the wings to the fuselage, because that's just the beginning of the just the beginning of the fun. There's something about the way Eduard designs these kits. It's their whole business strategy, and they're less centered on making it easy or fun for the customer, and they're more interested in appealing to a certain subset of enthusiasts. I hope there's not blood spurting out. I just bit my tongue off. Enthusiasts. The enthusiasts who are very much into the belts and suspenders and rivets counted down to the last rivet. Well, these people have Eduard going, and Eduard's got them going, and they go back and forth. I guess that's the hobby. That's what it's turned into. I myself am not interested in that, but I do like the fact that the surface detail on this kit is really good. I like that. So what did I do? Initially, the instructions explain that you're going to be assembling a lot of little teensy bits, and these teensy bits are going to be eventually become the interior of the model. And here we can see what I do. I'll be happy to get up closer with this, because I just, that's what I do. That's exactly what I do. Here we go. I use decals for the seats, the belts, and they look fine to me. I mean, why not? I don't care about the interiors. I don't care about all those weird little parts they have you glue in there either. I'm going to assemble this kit, and we're going to put this basically together, and I'm going to look in the cockpit, and I'm going to see if I can see any of those parts that I'm supposed to be assembling and painting and fooling with. Keep in mind here that I threw away the Eduard photo etch. I threw it away. It wasn't an accident. Eduard's kit comes with this sort of, when you're done with it, it's supposed to be I'm not even sure what to call it. It's a kind of a canoe that's going to go inside the interior of the fuselage. The canoe in question, this thing. I think that's a bad idea. Most of the things Eduard suggests for assembling this kit are bad ideas. The first thing you want to do to get away from their bad ideas is glue those wings to the fuselage. The second thing you want to do is take a look at the upper part of the nose. And if you've heard any bad things about this kit, I kind of guarantee you that what you heard has something to do with these parts. This is a separate part that glues onto the top of the nose, but they don't want you to glue it on the way I have here. They want you to assemble the two parts and then put it down on there like a hat. That's not smart, because if you do it the way I did it, and you get these parts lined up, you will discover that right there in front of the cockpit, right in there, there's going to be a big gap, because these two parts are a bit the wrong size. It's too much plastic along here. So you're going to need to take a file of some kind, if you can, and file this down. Now, this is not easy to do once it's been installed on the kit. So the best thing for you to do is to take some advice from me. You don't have to send me any money. Oh, I'd appreciate it. If you bought me a beer, I'd appreciate that. And here we are. This part needs to be put down flat on a flat surface, and then sand it off. Sand this down a little bit. Now, I can't tell you how much to sand it down without getting banned from YouTube forever, but about the width of a hair. And just take a little bit of that off, and then when you get this back on the air, when you finally get it glued to the airplane right here, when you get this glued to the fuselage, and you let this dry good, I think super glue is really needed. I like this stuff. I like this super glue for assembling plastic models. It might not be good for anything else, but it's good for that. Okay. Once you get this thing in here and the glue is good and cured, then you can put the two fuselage halves together, and you can look right down on the seam and see if there's anything going on that's even remotely close to fitting. Because what you want to end up with, you don't want a gap here. This right here is where the gap is going to be. Now that's a lot better than doing the instructions, what the instructions say, and then ending up with a gap along here. How are you going to fill that? Or I shouldn't say a gap, but an over a bad fit. Forget it. You know what? Honestly, I don't get paid enough for this. I really don't. Okay. Once you have sanded down along the edge, which is going to be a bit tricky because, of course, Eduard has put some guides in there, some little guideposts that will make it difficult to sand down. So you got to cut those off. Then you sand them down. Make sure that, you test fit everything as you go. So what you end up with is a fit that's reasonable and coherent. And you have a fit that's here, no gap, no wing root gap, no gap here, no gap here either, no gap along here. So we don't have to fill anything. No filling, no sanding, but you're going to have to be very careful about how you assemble the kit to get that to happen. Okay, on the interior, we've got a whole other load, good word for it, where the instructions lead you astray. Because Eduard is trying to sell you something, I don't know, they've got this big, huge canoe set up so that the sidewall is going to go up here. I cut the end of this off. I cut this part, cut it there, and cut it here. Now the reason for this is so that I can fit this instrument panel in there, like so. If I can get just a little bit of light on there, would be nice. Oh well. Like so. And if it doesn't fit, I can move it around and fit it. Same thing with the end that has the chair, the seat. I'm going to need a lot of good intentions to get that to work. Well, I don't know, maybe we're getting something here on our camera. What do you know about that? You see that? You can see it sticking out there. I can't point to it because all my hands are busy. You're just going to have to use your head. That's going to go down here. It's going to fit in there like so. Like that. Okay? But I come into it from behind and just nudge it in place. And this will be done, I hope. The whole point of all that is to completely ignore the instructions, which need to be ignored. They're BS. Put this together like so. Now you can reach up in there and insert the various components as you go. One tool, by the way, that I think is absolutely essential is this baby. Reverse action tweezers. Now test fitting, holding, testing, testing over and over and over again. This is tedious work. When you go to a YouTube video and you see what goes on with building plastic model kits, they apparently do it in 20 minutes. Tops, maybe even 5. And it's all done super high speed, and everybody's always wearing black gloves for some reason. If you like that kind of thing, then God bless your heart. Anyway, here's my plan. I put this in, insert this from behind, and then I can sort of maneuver it into position. And if it doesn't fit, I take this out because it doesn't fit. And these parts do not fit that well. They're very high tech, but they don't fit. Okay, now along here, I'm going to have to cut, sand, abrade, file, somehow remove some of this along that edge. That edge right there. This is supposed to sit like on the top of that cockpit combing or whatever you want to call it. And then this notched shoulder, this whole area here, fits into the side, into an area where there's no room for it. There's no extra room. There isn't a millionth of a millimeter extra room there. So you can see that this may not fit. If it doesn't fit, you're going to have to take it out, yank it out, get it on the workbench, and go after it with a file or a piece of sandpaper or a sanding stick for those of you that like to throw in money away. Get your sanding stick out there and go sand on it, okay? Get that stick going. You may need to sand down here too. So maybe I might join you. I might go down and get a sanding stick right now. Get down in there. Sand on that. Take this whole thing, shove it back up in there again. Take this fuselage, which hopefully by this point will have been glued together. Oh my God. There we go. Stuff this back up in there. This wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't cut this. Stuff it back up in there like that and test fit it again until you get the fit that you want. You'll know when it's right when you put it in there, flip it over and look down at it, and it looks right. Building this kit is not going to take 20 minutes. It's not going to take 5 minutes. It's not going to take black gloves. It's a process of going through the bits and the pieces, working it out, figuring out what's going to fit where. Now, I don't know. This is the instrument panel. That's as much as I'm going to do. As far as I'm concerned, that looks good. Okay. Well, we're going to cut that right there. And I get feedback, even though I don't have comments on. If you can believe that one. One of them is I'm out of focus. Okay, got it. Out of focus. So important. In my world, I'm not in focus. I'm never in focus. Nothing's in focus. That's my world. Okay, we're going to stop this right now. See you later. I hope I've made some progress by then, more progress. Once we get past this part, it's a cinch. Toodles.